Welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop in every week. Now, whether the gang problem in Hartford is escalating or exaggerated, one thing is for sure. Recruitment starts at the middle school level. Today, we'll talk with a Hartford entrepreneur and a retired school teacher about their solutions to countering the gang culture. In our second segment, we go from gang culture to gangrene. Are the rejuvenated Boston Celtics poised to win their 18th NBA championship? Then we'll wrap things up by tackling the raging H1N1 virus. Are we seeing in Connecticut the beginning of a much-feared epidemic? But first, countering Hartford's gang problems, we're joined by Anthony Griffin, entrepreneur, Linda Miller, retired teacher. So you heard all the stories going on. Exaggerated with the gang issue, or is it escalating? Your thoughts, your perceptions. Anthony.
I think it's, first of all, let me say good morning and thank you, Stan, for having me. I think the gang problem has been a little bit more exaggerated than escalated. I think the fact that our young people are gravitating toward gangs is only the result of not having structure outside of the school system to enable them to do recreational activities in the evening, after-school programming, and just job creation for our young people. In terms of young people are employable, and we want to make them employable and give them the sense of responsibility and sense of purpose that most communities did when we were growing up.
Sounds very simple. Why aren't we doing it, Linda?
Why aren't we doing it?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why we're not doing it. In the schools, again, the students absolutely need after-school programs, and those are severely lacking. They need mentors. It's very important. I feel that every child needs an adult who they can trust, who they can go to, and that's not happening as well. Again, the after-school programs, the biggest thing. And in the district in Middletown, where I'm from, there are after-school programs, but not enough for those students who are not in sports, for instance. And even if they're in sports, there's only so many slots on a basketball team, for instance. And a lot of kids want to play basketball, soccer, whatever. There's just not enough for everyone.
Let's talk about some quick bullet points on things to help to change this cycle. Number one, let's talk about the issue of mentors. You know, most of these homes, in Hartford in particular, 70% of the homes raised by a single parent, the lack of male mentors. They'll tell you whenever you see a gang member, you'll see a home or a person missing a positive male role model. Your thoughts on that? Male figures in the household.
Well, I think it is a deplorable situation that we are experiencing in terms of male role models not being in the home. However, you know, the mother has been a strong entity in most of our lives, and I think we can't use that as an excuse. There's a lot of great men that I know who've come up in a single home. However, I do think it's necessary for professionals, people who have been given the opportunity to increase their education, to come back and become that mentor, become that support system, become that alternative solution for our young people in the community. So I think to whom much is given, much should be expected.
Well, good point. Now, we don't want to disparage single moms, but how about the perspective that a mother or woman can only do so much to raise a man? That a man needs a reference point of a man to be a man.
That's true.
And that without that, you only can do so much.
Right.
Well, girls need a father figure.
Good point. Why? Talk about it. People forget about it. Why do young girls need
But don't forget the gang members will also have girlfriends. So girls need father figures as well as a female role model. Boys need female role models and male role models. So again, going back to the point of each child having some adult, and I just think that we can get more people involved in targeting these kids who need role models. And I just don't know how we can I think we need to target the students and try to pair them up with someone.
So a peer mentoring or even adult mentoring. How about the issue of jobs, though? Because the reality is that we talk about jobs, but a lot of folks get skittish when you say, well, how old are the kids? 15, 16, whoa, do I really want to do that? What about that reality? Our businesses don't want to take the liability or the consequences of hiring somebody maybe a little immature.
I think it's important that if we remember the concept of how America was formulated, a lot of different immigrants coming into the United States and starting with the old carts, you know, down in the village in New York and here in Hartford, entrepreneurship. And I think it's time for our young people to start understanding the importance of creating a job for themselves in terms of going out, delivering groceries for people in the neighborhood.
The old day, delivering the paper.
Delivering the paper, right? Raking leaves, shoveling snow, selling water. I mean, I believe that every community, Mr. Simpson, has a need. And you have to fulfill that need in order to put yourself in a position to become employable. So I think, you know, some of the basic principles that how America was built is what we need to go back to in terms of not letting every student have the reality of going out looking for a job, because the job market is what it is today. However, job creation, you being able to find a niche in your community, filling that void and supplying a need.
But the gangs, though, I mean, to a large degree, if there are jobs there, quote unquote, they're going to be jobs of the illegal nature. So what is the allure of the gang? Because you're also dealing not only with a lack of a male figure, but you could argue a lack of self-esteem for people who are vulnerable for these gangs. So what is the allure? What is the, if I'm a middle school kid, what is it that makes me feel whole and complete by joining a gang?
Well, you have a feeling of family, of being involved with someone who likes you, or it's perceived that they like you.
Accepts you for who you are.
Money, making money, being able to flash your money, to buy your cool sneakers. And that's a hard thing to go against when you're trying to tell the child that it's more important, they'll get further by studying and getting enough sleep, going to bed early, things like that. They don't want to hear that. That's why we need the adults. I just wish every student could have an extracurricular activity. Mandatory. Can we do that? Can we make it mandatory?
How about a place like the church? How about, you know, everyone blames the church for all the ills out there. What can the church do to get more involved?
The houses of worship, whether they're churches, synagogues, or mosques, many of them have that. Again, you're getting. Are they
preaching to the choir? I mean, the kids go to the church. Probably. The kids don't need to go to the church, right?
So I believe in the grassroots efforts, getting out into the community and actually reaching out to these kids. Just regular folks going out, hanging out in the corner and just talk. My father did that for years. Just went out and connected to the kids hanging out in the corner.
Anthony, your background, you've had a checkered past. You haven't been shy about that. Spent some time turning your life around and reaching out now to young people. What are you seeing there as a guy who has been in prison, who understands that culture? What is your message to these young people when you connect with them?
I think repentance has to be something that has to be found within first.
Repentance.
Repentance. You have to realize that you have done wrong, and then not allow that wrong to stifle you or be stagnant upon you. Move away from that wrong and don't look back on it, and look back for the experiences of it. Go forward and try to just find happiness, Mr. Simpson. Happiness is not going to be in how much money you make.
Yes, call me Stan. You're being too formal here. I'm calling him Anthony. He's coming to Simpson. I feel like, you got to be more informal here.
Well, I just think it's really important that that we understand that our kids are looking for somebody to love and something to do. And if we can't, as a society, fulfill that, then that's how the gangs become more influential in these young people's lives. Because if like the sister said, if we have only a certain amount of slots to fill in a program, on a basketball team, and then you have a gang that's recruiting and they have unlimited slots, which one do you think is going to be more alluring?
15 seconds. I have to ask this question. Repentance is a two-way street. If the young man repents, society also has to forgive. So many times there is repentance, but society sees that check mark in prison and says, I'm not too crazy about this. 15 seconds.
Well, look at my life. I had to create a business. I come from that. And that's why I accept the challenge that young men, that if you're going to be involved in certain things and limit your opportunities, and then when the consequences do make themselves available, you have to go out and take advantage of the opportunity that you have to create a job for yourself.
Right, and you have to seek positive people.
All right.
Positive people in their lives.
Like you two here, we'll have you back. This issue continues. Anthony Griffin, Linda Miller, thank you for joining us. We'll have you back on again. When we come back, folks, we go from gang culture to gangrene. Are the rejuvenated